Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Johnny Lang Show with Johnny Lang. And today, my super duper special guest, a guy that we're all getting to know a little bit. We're going to have a little conversation today, and that's my friend Tim Fazenbaker. Timmy, how's it going today?
Going well. Glad to be here.
I appreciate you stopping down. You know, you're here for a reason. You became famous this year. You're the Liberty guy. You're the guy that makes sure that what's supposed to be happening is happening for us. So first of all, can you just tell us a little bit about Tim? I mean, who are you?
Yeah, Tim Fazenbaker. I'm a Dundalk Sparrows Point guy. I was born here, grew up here, and I went to Dundalk High School. I lived in Sparrows Point. That's a whole other story how that happened. I went to Towson University, studied psychology and political science. After college, I moved to Pennsylvania. I lived there for a couple years. But when I was getting married and wanted to have a family, I'm like, I'm coming back.
Gotta come back home.
This is my territory. I love it here. I was proud of this area, and I was able and fortunate enough to have enough resources to come back and move where I had moved. And I lived a quiet life. We'll probably talk about it. I was an executive in mental health. Everything was fine. I got a little upset with some things politically that were going on, and then.
So wait a minute. So you moved back.
Yeah.
You're home, getting your family together, and of course these days you know what's going on. Mm-hmm. So something got a burr under your saddle.
Yeah.
And then you did what?
Well, I have 4 little kids. I got 5 kids total, and I saw some things changing that were definitely going to have an effect on my children that was different than what you and I had growing up around here. And I said, you know what? I got to get involved, do something. And I thought just by using social media at first, I would make a difference in making some of the other political people and some of the decision makers, I would make them a little uncomfortable. Maybe they would just kind of shift to what I like.
Just a hair.
Yeah.
Toward you.
But it was completely wrong. What happened was they ended up attacking me, and I'm just a regular citizen. I ran as a write-in candidate 2 years ago. I thought I would get 5 votes. I was running for a county council position just because of something local. I didn't really, think I'd win or anything.
You just pushed it around. You just said, what the hell, let's see what happens.
And I was teaching my kids they're all in elementary school, one's in middle school right now. I was teaching them about civic responsibility. And I said, I'll run as a write-in. Got 400 votes, and with a name like Fazenbaker, that's not easy. So, it kind of started this snowball thing that I never really anticipated, and it's been rewarding and it's been challenging, and it's opened my eyes to a lot of things. And
a lot of people don't, and that's the thing about life in general, but definitely about when you get into politics. And these guys, the good old boys, they don't like that.
No.
And even though these suckers are getting their retirement, they don't care. They want theirs, and they don't want, because they think they know best.
Right.
Which,
and it's like a frat or like a clique in a sense. If you don't follow what they want and what they're doing, and you don't shut up, well, then they're going to attack you. And that's not what Dundalk, Edgemere, Sparrows Point, Essex, that was not like that.
Good neighborhoods where neighbors were your family.
Yeah.
And that's how I grew up over on Broadship Road. My father, my hero, he was a police officer.
Awesome.
I'd walk him up the old Dundalk police station when I was a kid. That's how old I am.
That's a long time ago, yeah.
But that's what these communities are based on. I mean, the teachers and the butchers and the steel workers, and everybody lived together, and that's what made it great.
And I always said this is the heart of America. It was blue collar. You have affluent people. You have poverty. You have all races. You have everything here. Plus, we had the steel plant, which was the powerhouse of the world.
Pretty amazing when you think about that part.
Yes.
Here we were, Dundalk and Sparrows Point. We had like you said, powerhouse of the world. We were Bethlehem Steel, only one other plant in Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
and not only that, our area, Fort Holabird.
Yeah,
Fort Holabird. They trained intelligence soldiers, and there's a lot more. There's a lot more.
And you have Fort Howard.
Yes.
And that was something that I grew up, playing on those grounds down in Sparrows Point, Fort Howard area. And that's been dilapidated. No one was doing much with it. And then I started to learn things that were going on there. And my wife's a veteran. A lot of my family are veterans. My oldest daughter's in the Air Force.
Oh, wow.
And I wanted to do right for them. And I wanted Fort Howard to go back to the veterans. And that was something that was rubbing me wrong. And it was all kind of how I got involved in politics. And I had a pretty eventful life before this, which we'll talk about too. But all of a sudden, it's just these things snowballed. And I think because, and not to get too political, but like Donald Trump, he was talking about, the average person and not being a part of a party in a sense. And those things really resonated when I was mentioning these things to people here because they knew. And you brought up that your father was a police officer. I'm one of the originators of We Back Blue, which was we were the first organization to actually go out and help support police. And I remember the first time we did that, and I was down in D.C., there was police officers crying because they had not seen the public yet stand up and support them. And we had Black Lives Matter and other protesters there yelling and throwing stuff. But the police, it was really about them. And that time, they understood that there were regular people like us standing up for those who have always stood up for us. These things have really kind of helped me, I think, get onto the forefront. And I wasn't expecting that, and it's humbling. But no matter what, it's the right thing to do.
So now, this last election, you were involved.
Yeah.
And you know me, I'm always on social media.
Yeah.
And there were some pretty damn big rallies that old Tim Fazenbaker was putting off. What was going on this year with all that? And it's like you said, county council, and you're like, well, holy shit, these people actually think that I can contribute some way to help their lives. So what happened?
So to start back with when I was running for county council, I got in after the primaries, and like I said, I still got 400 votes, which from what we see is probably a Baltimore County record for that position, for write-in. Well, during that time, the party, they are responsible for making, I guess, who I am today, because they attacked me. They actually hired private investigators. They were following my children around, following my family.
For county council?
Yeah.
Oh,
and they were being
Jesus
hired
Christ.
by people, and I live in a community where there's a lot of police and undercover police and feds. And they kind of started picking up that there was undercover people going on, and they we confronted them. And we traced it back, and we know where they came from, and everybody kind of pinpointed that the person was following my family. And it made me think, for something that, I really didn't have much of a chance of winning, but I was making I was rocking the boat.
Rocking you damn.
Yeah. The establishment in any party, they don't like that. So they kind of created me. So thank you for that. So
thank you for your hating.
Yeah. So
But that's hating on the top level. Though.
Yeah, it was bad. My wife was very upset. My wife is a very private person. She actually made public statements at that time, and that's not something that she does. But she, mother hen, she was protecting the family, and it made me realize, if little old Tim is out there talking about just the average things that we're talking about right now,
talking about stuff for the people, for you beautiful people out there.
And if that was causing an issue, then more of us needed to stand up. So what happened was I was asked to speak at a rally in Washington, D.C. It was like July 5th, 2 years ago, back in 2018. And I actually, not many people know this. I don't think I've ever told this story in public, so you'll be the first one to get this.
Okay. Hey, first exclusive for the Johnny Lang Show.
I said, I told my photographer that was there at this event, I was speaking with some notable people that we've seen on Fox News or you've seen on CNN, whatever. I was really pumped and I was nervous. And I was a former musician, a singer, and a guitar player, and I usually didn't get nervous, but this was different. I was speaking in front of a huge group of political people. I told the photographer, I said, look, I'm going to form an exploratory committee to run for Congress. I knew the odds were against me, so I said, I'm probably not going to run, but I'll say that, and I'll look into it, but I probably won't run. Well, what happened? I'm on stage, and the guy comes up to me and he says, cut your speech in half. We're pressed on time. And Blaze TV's there, a lot of big networks. And I was like, throw out my script. And I go up on stage and I watched a video. I tripped and I said, so that's why today I am running for Congress. And everybody went nuts. And my photographer just dropped her camera and was like, you weren't supposed to say that.
Where the fuck that come from?
Yeah. So I'm like, oh no, what did I do? I tripped up on my words, and maybe it was a Freudian slip. Maybe I really wanted to run, and I really did. I just didn't think the numbers were there for us to even have a chance. So when that happened, all of a sudden, I started getting phone calls while I was just coming off stage. People were watching it live, and Blaze TV grabs me, and they're like, "Can we get an interview?" in this station from Spain. All of a sudden, I'm in this race, and I sat there and I said, "There's no way that I can mathematically win in a gerrymandered district like this,
right?
Something that's so heavily Democrat." Well, I took my experience as a mental health executive in my prior life, and I said, well, the way to do something like this is not really to talk about a party. Really, it's talk about what the issues are that help everyday people. And emotion was stronger than logic. And many people, if you're on the right, we think with logic. If you're on the left, you think with emotion. And I said, I need to tap into both of those.
Right. God, what a wonderful world it would be.
Yes.
If everybody did that.
And a lot of people were one-issue voters, and my core belief was simple. It was this: it was you have the God-given right to do whatever you want with your life, as long as you don't take away that right from another. Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives, libertarians.
That's kind of a libertarian attitude, and that is, look, as long as you ain't hurting anybody else or breaking the law, we're good to go.
Correct. Right. And it's good to have safety nets for people and communities, but. The neighborhoods help do that kind of stuff. And so I went around the country on purpose because, I'm a Republican in Maryland, which is a minority party.
That's tough.
And the party's been dwindling for decades in Maryland. So I said, you know what, I'm going to go around the country, and I'm going to bring in big hitters, and I'm going to get them to come to Baltimore. I didn't care if they're Republican, Democrat, black, white. And what many people, if you followed the campaign, what you saw was I had big people coming into town and putting Baltimore on the map. And when President Trump called out Baltimore...
Wait, time out a second.
Yeah.
I got some big people coming here, but putting Johnny Lang on the map.
You do? Thank you for that. But you got bigger guests coming, I think, too.
So you say Trump...
Yeah, Trump called out Baltimore. Not many people know this either. I actually got a phone call from Bo Snerdley with Rush Limbaugh, and they wanted to talk about Baltimore, and they were very interested in helping... doing whatever they could to flip a city like Baltimore, because they wanted Baltimore to be the blueprint on how we make cities productive again. Because most of the cities, everybody would agree, they're
not that great.
They're not that great. So
I love our city, but we're having a lot of problems.
Right. And I love Baltimore too. Technically, I was born on North Luzerne Avenue, so I do tell people, I was born in the city. I lived there until I was about 6, and my family owned a home there for a long time. So, I consider myself a Baltimorean.
Right.
Even though we live just outside Baltimore, we are Baltimore.
Absolutely. I mean, Baltimore metropolitan.
Yeah.
So they might ever tell you look like Russell Crowe?
Every time, yes.
Fucking Russell Crowe running for Congress, goddammit.
I am Maximus. I can't remember the rest of his...
But Maximus is all he needs to know.
Wait, well, I got to ask. Russell Crowe now or Russell Crowe in The Gladiator?
Gladiator.
All right, thank you.
Okay. So... I don't want to dwindle. I don't want to stay on politics too much, but I'm curious, and I'm sure now all these suckers out here are curious. What before we get into what you're doing now, and maybe a little bit about your music, which I'm kind of curious about. What's Tim Fazenbaker going to do?
Yeah.
Next in politics, or is there a next? Or you're like, you know what? What? I don't know. You tell me. That's what we like to know.
So I don't have a definitive answer, and I know a lot of politicians will say that, and I don't consider myself a politiciien. But
how many times did you run for office?
Technically twice.
Yeah. You're a politician.
But I understand that I do have a little bit of a larger microphone than what I did 2 years ago. And,
yeah, absolutely national.
And I want to continue using that in the best way forward. I had somebody on my team that worked for Trump in 2016. There were talks about, maybe I could go into a different role, some kind of White House role, but who knows what's going to happen with the election right now. Maybe I run again. Maybe I do something more local. Maybe I run for state senates. Maybe I run for Congress again. It all depends on what the people really want.
Wide open.
It's wide open.
And not only that, you ain't got to wait.
I don't have to wait.
Only 2 years.
Only 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So when I decide, you'll be one of the first to know.
Hey, well, I don't know where I'm going, and I don't know where you're going. What I would like is maybe if something happens, you come on back, and maybe we get a little bit more into what your campaign, and what you're going to do. And what I know what you're going to do is try and do everything to help the people that are us, that are us people.
And one thing I've been thinking about that I do want to say here was there was a high school teacher. I'm not sure. Did you go to Dundalk High School?
I did.
Okay. Do you remember Alan Stockett?
I do.
Okay.
Mr. Stockett, English teacher.
Yes. So many people, if you're not,
I went to school with his daughter, Emily.
Okay.
So
all right,
we're around the same age.
So Mr. Stockett was an English teacher at Dundalk High School, and he was there for generations. And I don't know what his political affiliation would be. I'm just going to guess he's probably a little bit more liberal. Yeah. And but he was, and I hated English. I still don't care to read. I do read, but.
Books on tape. Audio.
Yes. Yeah. You can watch the stuff on YouTube and podcasts.
I do.
Yeah.
Oh, I do. Plenty.
But Mr. Stockett, he had this pride in Dundalk that he talked about quite often. He said, I was born here, and he didn't like the stigma that Dundalk, this area got. And he always wanted to do more for it. Well, Mr. Stockett did. He created thousands of pupils that remember him and take what he taught us.
Right.
Part of what my core belief now is, maybe I'm taking that from Mr. Stockett. I'm conservative. He's probably liberal, but he was proud of his area and he did what he could for it, and that's what I want to do. So, Mr. Stockett, if you're watching or if anyone is, I haven't seen you in 25 years, but you had an imprint on me.
Well, that's really, it's amazing, and it's really nice to hear, and I'm sure a lot of the folks that are teachers out here really like to hear something like that. And you and I are kind of torn from the same cloth as far as local is concerned. Because if you ever look at my Dundalk tattoo, the green's black in the... This is all Dundalk.
I see that,
Yeah, all Dundalk.
Orioles, St. Helena, yeah.
So,
all Dundalk.
All Dundalk. I'm a Dundalk. Hey, Dundalk royalty, baby.
Hey, how'd you eat?
Yeah. That's right. So I'm looking forward to finding that out. But there's some things that's going on right now in your life, pretty exciting, especially for Dundalkians. We know about Sharky's liquor store because I go shopping over there all the time in that shopping center, and now I'm going to be getting all my booze from Sharky's. What's going on with that project?
Yeah, I was working for I was working in corporate America, and they weren't happy that I was running for Congress. Legally, I had the right to, but when COVID happened, let's just say I wasn't there any longer, and I was financially stable enough that I was able to decide I wanted to buy a business, and I could now take that business and give back to Dundalk any way that was possible. But also, if I did want to run again in the future, I didn't have to worry about corporate America. I had my own place.
That's right. Nobody can tell you jack, even though they really can't. But they made an excuse and snuck you.
Yeah,
they snuck you good.
Yeah. So I'm not a big drinker, but I was in a band, so I drank a lot more when I was younger. But I said, you know what, I wanted to buy a liquor store. It's somewhat recession proof, and if you do it responsibly, it could be a great addition to a community.
Absolutely.
Sharky's was known, I believe the original owner of Sharky's was a police officer, and he sold it, and then I decided to buy it. And my participation with We Back Blue and supporting law enforcement and veterans goes right with this, and I'm going to be continuing to give back and discounts to our law enforcement family and veterans.
Well, one of mine and GJ from the Jays, our favorite charities is Feed Our Vets. That's one of the things to us, and it's hard to understand sometimes why the vets don't get the treatment that they deserve. And I think we're working on that as a country, and that makes me really happy. But that's why we like to step in. It really makes me happy to know that part of what you're doing even kind of brings a little tear to my eye, is for not only our community, which again, that's what it's all about, baby. But then not only that, the people that help our community be a community, and that's the guys and gals that are putting it all on the line. Yeah. So
Sharky's is going to be called Phase 4 Liquors, and it's going to be all,
I love it.
I got 4 little kids. I got 5 total, but the the emphasis again is going to be Americana. It's going to be themed. It's going to be themed with Americans. Be red, white, and blue. It's going to be supporting police, and it's right where the Dundalk fireworks always go off on the 4th of July. So what better than
getting rich American on 4th of July? You close the rest of the year after that.
So it's it's exciting for me to venture into my own business at this point. I've been in corporate America for so long, but
and home.
Yeah,
and home, which is pretty sweet,
right? And I mean, I had options to move to go to different counties, even out of state. But my political philosophy and ideology may differ from the majority of Marylanders, but I still love it here, and I'll stick it out with the things I don't like because I love it and I want to give back to the people here. So
that's
Phase 4 liquors coming.
I love Phase 4. Maybe we're all getting drunk as hell. Phase 4 liquors. So you, hey, by the way, Phase 4 liquors, which is what's the name of that shopping center over there?
That's Merritt Point Shopping Center.
Merritt Point Shopping Center, which is right by the kids' swim place.
Yep.
Right by Family Dollar.
By Friendlies.
That's right. Friendlies and Wells Fargo.
Yeah.
All in that same shopping center. So make sure you go support my man Phase and his.
Thank you.
Going to be one of the most popular liquor stores out there. So you talked about earlier about your music career, and just as we talked briefly earlier, it was a career.
Yeah,
it was a young lifetime.
Yeah. So I was an executive vice president in the mental health care field, and people always said, "How do you have time being in a band?" And it was tough, man. It was tough with my wife and my family at the time, which was just growing. We played 100 shows a year. We played all up and down the East Coast, every Friday, Saturday, some Sundays, and it was a lot of work, but it was fun. And I learned so much in that. I tend to be more of a introverted person. I'm actually kind of quite shy. A lot of people don't believe that, but a lot of musicians, especially singers, lead guitar players, that kind of stuff, they actually are introverted type people.
They shy away.
Right. But the stage is one way for them to let it out. And I didn't realize that until I was older. But being a musician was so much fun. And it helped me. It helped me with a platform like this where I can talk. It also helped me with politics because I can speak freely and I understand how to kind of tap in with the crowd and what they're wanting. But we were top 40 type cover bands. We played, modern rock, classic rock. We played hip hop, country, oldies. We mixed it all up. We made it
super variety band.
Yes, we made it.
What was the name of the band?
We were called Outbreak.
Outbreak.
Yeah, we played from Key West, Florida to New York. I loved it, but when my family started growing, it became harder to do that, and I didn't want to be absent from my family. I really wanted a big family, so I grew out of it, and I said, you know what, it's time. And I
wish I had a guitar right now. So he does it all, so we might as well get him in here with the dang guitar and get going. Yeah. Well, that's pretty amazing. I mean, you've led a pretty amazing life up to this point. And I think, I can't say that I think because I've seen what's happening. I've seen the people and how they feel about you and what your message is. And I can't wait, man. It's going to be big. It's going to be big. Hey, wait a minute. White House Chief of Staff here coming up very shortly a couple quick things, and then we're going to get out of here. I just like to have a little bit of fun.
I'm all for fun.
I tell you, I always ask this. I always ask some of the same questions to everybody, and then and here I am listening to everything about you and what you're about, your family, how you feel about your family and your community and everything like that. So I don't even, because you're already a superhero. So what
You're too kind.
But if you were a superhero, okay, what would your power be? You get to choose whatever one, and why? Why would you choose that, whatever it may be?
That's a great question. with that caveat there, that's a great question. Now, I got to go through this evolutionarily in my head. I always loved the Flash when I was a kid because he was fast.
Fast as hell. He can travel through time.
Yeah, and I can't run a mile anymore, but when I was young, I ran a mile 4:59. So
pretty fast.
Yeah, and so I think maybe because when I was little I was fast, maybe I just gravitated towards the Flash. So the Flash historically was probably my favorite superhero. But now if I had one superpower, maybe it would be a a way to actually just help people understand mentally how to better themselves. I don't mean to go back into politics, but the other day, I was down in Baltimore City, and I don't really talk about all this kind of stuff, but we were trying to stop some of the encampments that are being dismembered or they're broken up down in the city for these homeless encampments. Not that we want the homeless encampments to stay where they are, and we have one on Dundalk Avenue now that I've noticed. But what I was saying in front of the press and the local media that was there is, look, I don't want these people just thrown out. I mean, they have a little home in a sense with this encampment. I want them to have mental health support so they can become productive members of society. They don't want to live that life.
Right.
A lot of them have addiction issues or other mental health issues. If I could somehow convey the needed support to them so that they could better their own lives, that would be the superpower that I would want.
That was deep. I just like to say, hey, I'd like to be invisible so I can steal stuff.
If you get that superpower, don't come to Phase 4 Liquors.
I'll be too drunk.
I'll see a bottle floating around.
So, okay. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, real quick. I'm going to say it. You say what food you're eating breakfast.
Egg McMuffin.
Lunch.
Wawa, turkey sub, honey mustard, and tomato.
And dinner.
Oh, I've never had beef Wellington, but I want beef Wellington.
So that's what you haven't ate it, but you want to eat it.
I want it because it's in the back of my mind.
Now, this is kind of my favorite question that I like to ask everybody, and that is if you leave, you head to Wawa, and you're getting your sub with the honey mustard or whatever the hell you just said, because apparently you get that motherfucker all the time.
I just had it actually.
and you see a lottery ticket. And you say, you know what, it's probably been sitting here, somebody threw it away, but it was no good, but I'm going to check it out. Anyway, you pick it up, and you sign it, and you take it in, and you find out that you won $1 million. Now, after that, you obviously got to call your wife. You're probably going to pass out. Luckily, you signed it. What are you going to do? Very first thing you do with the money?
I take care of my father and my mother-in-law right now. And my father has dementia, my mother-in-law is a widow, and I would pay off their homes or whatever I could.
Whatever to help family once again.
Yeah, we support them right now. So whatever we could do, it's an old Japanese thing. Or I was raised by an Italian godfather as well. Loyalty within the family, you take care of those, and it doesn't just mean blood. My oldest daughter's my stepdaughter, and I raised her since she was 5. So it's really about just giving back to the family. And helping them helps us. You make
me want to get up and hug you right now.
Oh, let's hug.
Okay. Anything? This is the first time we met.
Yeah.
Face to face, and anything that you are curious about with old JL?
Yeah. So Johnny Lang show. I can see you being the next.
Jay Leno?
You don't have the chin for that. Joe Rogan or something like that.
He's a badass.
He is, and he's loaded now. What is, I see you have a good platform. I watched some of your other programs and your shows, and you have a good name for yourself as well. Part of the reason that I wanted to come here is I saw some of the prior guests you had, and I know them, and they speak highly of you. What is your goal?
Well, as far as my goal with the podcast, and I want people to know about people, but I want it to be a positive. You know what I mean? So everything, and you make that. By the way, you make that really, really fucking easy. But that's it. You could have went any which way you like. When we were chatting about politics, but you didn't. You made it about what it was supposed to be about. Well, actually, no, you didn't make it about yourself. You made it about everybody else, which is kind of why you're the wonderful guy that you are. But as far as my goal, that's it. My goal is to inform and entertain. I have the YouTube channel, which all these folks know already. Fantastic Jays. I just want to make people smile and have fun. Yeah. And as far as this is concerned, when I started following you, I was like, people. I'm watching. I'm seeing people post stuff about you, and people want to know. In my opinion, and I think that's true. They want to know about Tim Fazenbaker, the Phase, baby. That's like the Flash, the Phase. So
I do like the phase. That's our nickname.
So that's it, and I'm glad you stopped by. I would really love once we get toward this next election in a couple of years, maybe you got to make a decision here shortly.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not trying to get any answers out of you. When that answer comes, I'll be ready.
We know that the House of Delegates in Maryland and the governor will be drawing up new territories that by April. We'll know those new districts. That'll tell us a lot about the direction in this state. So a lot of politicians or people who are thinking about running will begin to make up their mind in April.
Last question, and then we're gonna go.
Yeah.
And you just made me think of this. And this is political.
Okay.
Term limits.
So this is a loaded question. I support term limits.
Yes, me too.
If you're watching, I do support term limits.
Me too, 100%.
A lot of my more libertarian or conservative leaning friends say it's not in the Constitution, and I say, well, let's change that part of the Constitution, because what is in the Constitution now is what has been changed because of Franklin Delano Roosevelt is the term limit on a presidency.
Right. So it can be done.
Right. So if we're going to have a term limit on presidency, which I do believe we should have it for every role of government.
Everyone. 100%. Everyone.
250 years ago, the mindset was getting people to volunteer to do these types of positions to represent us in government. This time, this decade, it's about themselves.
And what happened when they tried to get George Washington to run for his third term? He says that's not what it's about.
I'm not going to be king. He's one of my favorite presidents because he set that precedent. And he also said at the end in his farewell speech, factions will be the fall of this nation. Political parties are not good for a nation.
I agree. Now, how wonderful would an election be, like this last election, where a guy gets whatever he gets because of the person that he is?
Right. Take off the R and the D. Just have that person's name. That's the way I think ballots should be.
Well, you want to put your accomplishments out there, your own merit. I'm all about that 100%. I mean, that's the way it should be.
Right.
Timmy, thank you so much. Phase, baby. Phase.
Thank you,
Phase. Appreciate you coming back.
Johnny Lang.
Everybody, thank you so much for stopping by. See you next time on the Johnny Lang Show with Johnny Lang.